everybody, it's Aluna Michaels, Esoteric Astrologer, wanting to talk to you about the events of November 2021. Okay, so let's start out talking about the Mercury retrograde we just went through, because I'm a big proponent of talking about Mercury retrograde being very positive and it's not anything to be scared of. And it does happen 3 times a year, 3 weeks at a time. And Mercury being about communication is about, when it goes retrograde, about having internal communication, meditation, kind of connecting with your heart, your soul, all that kind of stuff. You're realigning yourself, making sure your day-to-day actions are matching what you want to have happen in your life, stuff like that. But this last Mercury retrograde, when Mercury did go retrograde in September, it made a square to the planet Pluto. And so that kind of colors the entire Mercury retrograde in a way when Mercury makes an angle like that. So a square is challenging. And Pluto, so Mercury's how we think, and ideas, beliefs, but it's just kind of like your day-to-day kind of thing, And Pluto can be about feeling pressured into things, people telling you what to do, feeling you don't have choices, feeling obsessive, feeling just stress on a daily basis, So the retrograde happened. Mercury went direct at the end of September. That's not right. I'm in the wrong month. When I look down, I'm looking at my ephemeris, which is the book that tells you where all the planets are. So, I'm sorry. Mercury went retrograde at the end of September. It went direct in the middle of October. Now, what needs to happen is Mercury continues, of course, to move forward, and it will pass that point where it did go retrograde, right? It's catching up with itself. So when it does that, there's that Mercury-Pluto square again, which happened November 2nd. I'm doing this on November 3rd. So it kind of can resolve a lot of these things that you've been under stress about. And for some people even who are real sensitive to the Mercury stuff, when Mercury even goes into what we call the shadow, that's kind of earlier in September. So some people are feeling a lot of stress for the past 2 months. And it can be things, still that you urgently want to do with yourself, for yourself, but you're not doing. Or so the Pluto, in a way, can be this concept that doesn't let go, like a gnawing at you. It's like, I need to take care of myself this way. I need to lose weight. I need to change jobs or whatever. I need to work on my meditation skills. But it can feel critical. It can feel harsh, But it's an urging. But at the same time, it can be just worrying in general about things that aren't very useful, or having somebody feel like they're bossing you around, or just feeling like circumstances are tense. It's hard to get things done. So now that Mercury's past that point, things can really open up. There can be a lot more resolution. You can feel you have more personal power and personal choices. But also can be a good time to say, what is it I really do want? How do I prioritize things? And what do I do that just doesn't feel good anymore? What was making you feel like, I like doing this if I keep doing it? And, so those kind of things could be more easily released at this time. Now, the next little hurdle to go over is the new moon tomorrow, November 4th. Here's Strummer making an appearance. Okay, so the new moon, of course, the sun and moon close together in Scorpio at 12 degrees. Of course, the new moon is when the sun and moon are exactly the same. And they're like exactly opposite the planet Uranus, which is in Taurus, at 12 degrees. So the new moon can have a lot to do with, fresh energy and starting new things. And Uranus itself is about groundbreaking kind of stuff and all that. So it's a great time to, I'm going to break free from these things that I've been obsessing about, or they're holding me back. And it can be a lot of, let me just see where he's going. Sometimes he goes under my little rocking chair here. Oh, he is under there. I gotta be very careful. So when Uranus is doing that, it's like kind of breakthrough ideas and stuff. But it can also be like too strong, because the opposition is like, I'm going to be free no matter what. So you've come through this Mercury-Pluto deal, right? And then it can be just watching out for being overly strong with people if you need to make changes, or doing anything too radical. It's like you want to have that enthusiasm about it, which the new moon and Uranus can give you, but moderate it. It's not a time to do radical things because then you can feel like, oh man, I really went from one bad thing to another doing that, or just cause more trouble or something. So taking a breath, feeling like, and if you do have some great ideas, knowing if they're great, they're gonna be there the next day, but knowing that if something puts you on fire and lights you up, like, yes, this is a yes. And then continue that, but just a little moderation because of the extreme thing going from one to the other. It's just a little bumpy. So, okay, so we get through that. Now, actually, we're going to have, let's see, I'm going to go to the full moon and then go backwards a little bit. So the full moon is on November 19th, and that's, of course, when the sun opposes the moon. And that's going to be the sun in Scorpio, the moon in Taurus. And the moon won't be close to Uranus, because that happened earlier. But what will happen is that full moon makes a square to the planet Jupiter. And everyone seems to love Jupiter. It's a lot of good stuff. It's fun. It's open and free. But it can be, again, like overabundant. So it's like, it's an interesting month of saying yes to these things, but then moderating it. Or also knowing that, like, say, for instance, if you felt really repressed over the past 2 months with the Mercury Pluto, and then I always think the easiest thing is like going on a diet. I mean, it could be way more intense spiritual issues you're dealing with. But let's say, I'm going to go on a diet and I'm never going to eat any fast food again, or any chocolate again. Let's say fast food. Nothing. And then it's like, that's good to improve your diet and eat more organic and fresher and all that. But you can set yourself up for failure, like the extreme, and say, oh, you have such a busy day and you're stuck in traffic or such and such, and maybe going to get the healthiest option at whatever place, McDonald's, like you just need to eat now. So you can kind of then feel like, oh, look, I don't follow those things and forget it, and then get kind of extreme again. It's like, okay, let's say, like, yes, this is a good goal, nourish myself as well as possible, knowing there could be exceptions, but not fooling yourself that things are exceptions, So both the new and the full moon can be like that, and saying, my goals are good, and they're not going to be perfectly followed, but knowing there's progress that you're building on, and not just, extreme, and then, well, just go back. I can't ever do this. I'll just eat fast food all the time. It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. So that's what I mean by moderating those things. So the next thing is, it's kind of interesting. The planet Mars is in Scorpio all through November, and actually part of December. And Mars does that. It's about 6 or 8 weeks in a sign. Mars is definitely very enthusiastic as well. Scorpio definitely is about those goals, and about work things. It can be sexy. It can be fitness. It's like how you just use your energy, So there's Mars doing that. And then Mercury also is moving into Scorpio, and they kind of join together. So Mercury, again, the thinking, and Mars, again, it gives more of that, like, yes, let's do it. I can do it. Yay. And they're joined together through, the first few weeks of November. But on the 10th or so, let's say 10th of November-ish, Saturn makes a square to them. So Saturn is more, it can feel like an obstacle again. So it's like, and I think kind of what this does is it says, Saturn is what things do you really want? What things are real priorities, And if you really want it, you will make the effort for it. So it can be a test to say, yes, I really do want to change jobs or something, and I'm going to put out the effort. I'm not just going to go, yeah, I'm going to do it. Now it's like, woo, now I got to write a resume. It could be the Saturn, something like that. But the idea that whatever's worth it, you will put the effort into. But what isn't really worth it, you just kind of maybe say, this isn't the right time to do it, and you could find a different time. But again, making sure you're not making excuses for yourself. But I think when Saturn does that, it kind of is a checkpoint to say, do I really want these things? So again, this theme is repeating, as you see throughout November. The next thing is that Venus is going to be in Capricorn most of the month. Yes. Oh, right. Venus is going to go retrograde in December. So Venus is going to be in Capricorn for a long time. That's my Venus sign. I've come to really like it. But my goodness. Okay, so Venus goes into Capricorn like November 4th or 5th. It'll go retrograde, and we'll talk all about that. But it stays Venus in Capricorn until middle of February. So Venus is definitely what we love, what our values are, what makes us feel like we're shining and alive and stuff. And Capricorn, again, linked with Saturn, about what we really want in life and what we really love and what's worth the effort. So this theme is just going about, it's worth striving for certain things, and I can do it. And the other thing to emphasize too is that the Saturn doing this and Venus being Capricorn, and even these checkpoints along the way there, that the new and full moon, it's like, what small steps are continually applied that add up? And that can be just a hidden type of enthusiasm or set of progress for you. Like, tiny changes or tiny habits. And just saying, like, I'm very into Dr. Daniel Amen, and he was talking about an older woman who knew she had like a lot of health issues and maybe some brain stuff. And she didn't have the money to go to do a lot of the work. Dr. Amen's real expensive. And she just said, you know what? I'm going to start drinking more water. And that was the easiest thing she could do. And she started drinking, 8 glasses a day. Okay, now that became a habit. And it's like, now I can go for a brisk walk every day. And he was telling the story about by the time she did come for the brain scan, she had like the brain scan of a 50-year-old, and she had no more aches and pains and didn't have memory problems or whatever it was. She was starting to have some, memory things, whatever. But this idea that you could tackle a big issue with tiny steps that you're willing to do, you're able to do it, you're committed to it, and it's not that hard. That can be Saturn, like a simple step, and you create that foundation, and you say, okay, what's the next thing I could do, willing to do, able to do, easy to do? And so that also can be part of this Venus in Capricorn, that learning to love yourself, learning to have positive thoughts, that maybe you feel like you can't think positive thoughts all the time, but you could be kind to yourself every time you had a negative thought, So this kind of commitment to step-by-step progress is also part of all this Saturn, Venus, and Capricorn, and even some of this coming out of being stuck. Sorry, my phone's ringing in the next room. And then having this going from stuck to I can do it, and then I can't do everything, but I can do these pieces. I can do this, and I am making progress. So that's for the November, and I forgot to shout out to the guys at Know Thyself podcast. Well, thank you so much for talking about me and sending me amazing people who listen to that podcast. I'm sure even if you're watching this, you're also amazing, even if you don't listen to Know Thyself podcast, but maybe you should. If you want a reading from me, my cell phone is the best way to get me, 248-583-1663. The number is also below in my little blurb about the video. AlunaMichaels.com. You can find more information with me there. I also have videos of every sign, every one of the 12 signs from an esoteric perspective. And my book also on Amazon Kindle is called The Spiritual Gifts of the 12 Astrological Signs. Okay, so see you next month, and bye-bye for now.